sage. Hello everybody, this is me, MC Gamer, and welcome back to Hyrule Academy, your weekly show right here on Radio Hyrule, where we talk all about Zelda lore and fan theories, while listening to some great Zelda music, chiptunes, remixes, covers, and all sorts of great different tunes from the Zelda universe. Today's show is going to be absolutely fantastic, my friends. Absolutely fantastic. We are going to have a wonderful time tonight, and I hope you are very excited to talk about Ezlo, the man from the Minish Cap, and we'll be getting into him in just a brief moment. But for right now, I want to remind you guys that this show does air every single Friday at 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on RadioHyrule.com. So be sure to tune in every week. We have a different discussion every week, and participate inside our chat room. I see the classroom, not just the chat room, the classroom is already going absolutely bonkers, and that's great. That's what we're here for. We're here to have some fun times. So, what was that music you were just listening to? That beautiful tones that hit you right in the face right as we started the show. That was the Minish Village guitar cover, and that's by Dan Link, and it was featuring the wonderful Metal Fortress. Metal Fortress, I actually believe I featured inside one of our very recent weeks. So, many shout-outs to Dan and Metal Fortress. They both have done some great work with that cover. I found it this week, and I was very stunned and surprised to find it just sitting there on YouTube. I think it had less than 1,000 views. Can you believe that, guys? That is just inexcusable, so go give them a search. Anyways, guys, let's get into this week's topic, which is Ezlo from the game The Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. So, Ezlo, let's give a little bit of backstory about him. But before we talk about Ezlo, we have to talk about the race he belongs to. He is part of the Minish species. He's a member of these Minish people. And they are tiny. They are also known as Picori. And Ezlo himself was a craftsman and a sage inside this village. Yes, and he was a hat. He was a hat. Everybody's excited. Oh my good golly, the chat's going crazy about hats. Yeah, everybody's very excited. So yes, so while Ezlo before he was a hat, he was a craftsman and a sage. He did all these wonderful things as a craftsman and a sage that we'll be talking about today. And one of these days he said, you know what, I'm going to become someone cool. I'm going to make a hat that grants wishes. Very bold idea, if I do say so myself. I may not be Ezlo myself, but I think that's a crazy idea. But he went and did it. He made it, and it worked. So, good for him. Good for him. I'm very proud of him. Then Vaati came along. Vaati was his apprentice, and Vaati stole it and cursed him for interfering and saying he shouldn't steal things. Vaati's kind of a jerk, if you haven't figured it out already. And so Ezlo got turned into a hat himself. So now we have two hats. We have a hat that grants wishes, and one that looks like a bird and talks to you. And of course, Link finds Ezlo inside the woods, wears him on his head for the duration of the game, and is eventually returned to normal when Zelda takes back the wish-granting hat and turns him back into his Minish form. So that's pretty much what Ezlo is. He's a dude who made a hat that grants wishes, got turned to a hat himself, then turned back. What happens after that is anybody's guess. It's not for me to really come up with ideas and things like that. That's for you guys to talk about today here on the show. So some questions I have for you is, first, as a Minish craftsman, what do you think this man created? What did Ezlo do? Because he can't have just made one thing and been done. He's a very old Minish. If you actually look at him, he has a beard. He's old, and when he finally reappears inside his final form, so to speak. So, what do you think our good friend Ezlo made before hats? And what were his duties as a sage? Because he talked about being a sage. He was a sage to the Minish people. What in the world did he? What did he do? What did he do as a sage? And lastly, my last question for you guys inside the chat is, how did he harness the power of granting wishes? We know of one other item that can do this. That's the Triforce, and that was made by the goddesses. What gives him this power? I want to know what you guys think, so be sure to go into the chat room at radiohyrule.com/chatroom and give me your opinions and your thoughts. And I will get to them a little bit later inside the show. And it's going to be a great time. I have a wonderful set of songs for you this evening. We have so many different types of music that you guys are going to be completely stunned and entranced by, I would say. I have official soundtrack stuff. I don't have any chiptune covers. I got guitar covers. I got some weird looping mixes. I got you some reorchestrations. There's all sorts of great stuff. But we're gonna start off with a song that's right from the official soundtrack. No remixing. We're just going straight official soundtrack from the Minish Cap. So I hope you guys enjoy and keep it locked here to Radio Hyrule and the show Hyrule Academy. See you guys in just a few. And welcome back, everybody, to Hyrule Academy right here on Radio Hyrule. I hope you guys enjoyed that music. It was some really great stuff from three very talented artists. One of them was Nintendo. So, of course, Nintendo's great. We know Nintendo. Nintendo is a friend here on the show. I'd like to say that we consider Nintendo to be very important to us here at the show. Anyway, so I see you guys in the chat. You guys are having a great time discussing Ezlo, as well as the Minish people and the Light Force, and we're going to be talking all about that here in just a few. But first, we want to slow things down a bit and talk about the Minish and their role in Hyrule. But first, you guys want to know what we've been listening to. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, friends. So what we were listening to, first off, was the song called Ezlo's Past from the official soundtrack. It is the first and only song inside the soundtrack, I believe, that actually has Ezlo's name inside it. So I thought it was very fitting that we start off our discussions listening to that, hopefully getting a little bit of Ezlo inside our hearts, so we can talk about him with our brains. I know that was deep and stupid, so I hope you enjoyed it. I think it was a magical thing to say right there. Anyways, next up we heard Picori Festival cover, and that was by Arnie Undercover, and that was a really interesting metal-y cover of the Picori Festival song. I thought it was a good way to transition ourselves, saying, all right, so we're starting off the game, the Minish Cap, hopefully jogging some memories of Link's first encounter with Ezlo inside the woods. Following that, we heard the Minish The Minish Village Classical and Clean cover, and that is by C. Quicks 1998. And I saw his video, and I was like, this video, this song he created, it feels off. It felt a little bit off key almost, and then I listened to it. I just kept listening to it. I was like, I'm not gonna knock it. I'm just gonna let it play, and I liked it. It has that certain thing, that off. Like, you know, it's kind of off. It's like just a bit off that you feel okay with it. Sometimes the best things in life are just a little bit off. And so that's why I really like that song. And many shouts to C. Quicks 1998 for that song. Anyways, guys, let's talk about hats. All right, so the Minish, they were an important race of people in Hyrule. And they descended from the sky, apparently. This is canon right here. So in Hyrule, people are just wandering about, and one day the Minish fall from the sky, and they bring to the land of men. They bring a sword, the Picori blade, and they bring the Light Force, which is an undescribable power. And it's very similar to the Triforce. People compare the Light Force and the Triforce all the time, and that's okay. That's wonderful. And so with these Minish people, they were celebrated and very, 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 very cherished by the Hyrulean people. And what's very interesting is that the Hyruleans, as much as they loved these Minish people, they didn't know they were called the Minish because they couldn't speak to them. They had no way to speak to the Minish. They didn't know their language, and so they decided to call them the Picori people. And so that's why we have a Picori festival. It's a festival of the Minish, but they just don't know what they're called. We do, though, because we played the game. And so we celebrate the Minish people, and they have this undescribable power that they bring to them. And eventually, we start seeing them fade away. They hide away into their village, and while there's a festival for them, it kind of, as timeline goes along, we don't see the Minish mentioned again. The Minish were only in one game, the Minish Cap, and I don't know. I feel like it's really sad that these people they bring this power and this sword to the people, saying, "We are here to help you. We are here," and we have a festival for them and stuff, but we don't really care about it after that point. we do our festival for a little bit, and then Ocarina of Time happens and nobody cares. So I feel bad for the Minish people, and I feel bad. But there's a theory going around. Why I'm telling you about the story of the Minish is there's a lot of theories I'm hearing inside the chat. I saw Captain Trina, Yoshitaro as well, going on this, talking about perhaps the Minish who brought this power down. Perhaps one of the people was Ezlo. Ezlo is a very old Minish, so it's very possible that perhaps he was one of the first to come to the land, and he was the one who brought the Light Force, and he brought the Picori Blade with him. So there's a very strong possibility in that, because we don't know how long Minish live. I don't think there's any reference inside the game, nothing that I'm remembering, so I could be wrong. Please correct me in the chat if you know more than me, because that's what it's all about, is educating each other here on the show. But yeah, there's a very strong theory. The Minish people knew, and they knew that the Hyrule people, they needed help, and so they bring them this gift of undescribable power. And perhaps that power, Ezlo had a hand in creating. Because the question inside the chat, I've been hearing a lot of theories, but and everybody's like, well, it's just the Light Force. You know, the Minish have the Light Force, so they can use that to do stuff. But the thing is that's interesting is the Light Force, we don't know where it came from. The Minish brought it with them. And it's this power that's similar to the Triforce. Like, how do they just have this just hanging around inside their back pockets, you know, guys? And so, perhaps it was Ezlo who had a hand in creating this Light Force. And I still find it so strange that we no longer, you know, celebrate the Minish people inside the later games. I'm really hoping that as we head into E3 next week, of course, depending on when you're listening into the show, maybe we can throw in the Minish a little bit. I think they deserve some more shout-outs. They don't have to be main roles, but I think they deserve to be erased in every game because they were apparently this important and they saved Hyrule at some point. Yeah, and the thing that's most interesting about the Minish is that they can't be seen by humans unless they're children. That's why Link can see them. So it's very interesting that we have this race of people who can only be seen by children. Or is it true of heart? Children or true of heart? I think it's a combination of both. I could be wrong. I haven't looked up the Minish this week. I've been looking up more of Ezlo and what he's been up to. So yeah, Ezlo is very, very important, and he possibly had a crane the Light Force. That's my theory. It's my theory. Just to overall wrap it up. Ezlo had a hand in creating the Light Force. He's the one who brought it down. And he's probably one of the oldest Minish there is. That's my theory, and that's going to have a hand inside our community discussion, which is coming up. So keep discussing in the chat about what Ezlo could have been up to as a craftsman before he got on into creating hats with undescribable power. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And I want to remind you to go to radiohyrule.com/chatroom and talk all about what we've been yabbering on about this evening. We had a lot of fun so far. And I have a very special announcement at the end of the show, so keep tuned and locked in to Hyrule Academy right here on Radio Hyrule. I hope you guys enjoyed this next set of music. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, everybody, to Hyrule Academy right here on Radio Hyrule every single Friday night at 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. I hope you're all having a really wonderful time. I know I sure am. I got a lot of theories here, and during this last musical interlude, I've had a lot of time to think and hear what you guys are saying, and I think I have an idea of how to tie it all together, and I hope you're very excited to hear what I have cooked up for you this evening. But first, let's talk a little bit about what music you've been listening to, because it was a bit interesting, and I want to describe one of these songs to you a little bit more in depth, just so maybe you can appreciate a little bit more. But that first song we listened to was the Cloud Top song, and it was remastered by Blaze Hedgehog on YouTube. It's an okay cover. It's an okay remix. It's not my most favorite thing I've ever listened to, but I thought it was very good, and the Cloud Top song usually doesn't get a ton of love, so I had to give it a shot. And it turned out good. I gave it a shot, and I'm okay with it. Following that up, we had Zelda Reorchestrated's version of Temple of Droplets. Temple of Droplets is a really wonderful song. It's one of my favorite dungeon music pieces out there inside the Zelda universe, and I actually used it for a trailer for one of my Zeldathon marathons that I've done. for our one marathon, Zeldathon Water, because I thought the idea of the droplets really resonated with the idea of a water marathon. And that marathon did well, by the way. In case you're wondering, I just thought I'd throw that out there. And so the last song you heard, and this is the interesting one, this was a Minish Village remix by Sebastian, and I'm going to butcher this, Freij. It's Freij. And I've heard this song, and I watched the video, and it doesn't have the same effect without watching the video, but that entire song you heard was done in one sitting, in one take. He just sat down with a loop machine and a single instrument. It was a cello, and he made that song, and it was just right there. That was all one thing, just him sitting there, no extra people, just him and his instrument. It was absolutely wonderful, and seeing like that stuff is really amazing to me, that we have that type of musical talent inside the Zelda community, and I'm hoping to hear more of it. I'm going to be researching this looping machine Zelda music soon. Anyways, guys, we need to talk about Ezlo. So you guys have been tippy tapping inside the chat all this time, and I got some interesting things from you. So let's go right down the line. Slowpoke is a gamer said that Ezlo made hats. He has made all the hats, and well, that's a wonderful theory, Slowpoke. I'm not going to add that to my own fan theory, but I wanted to mention it because I think it would be a really cool idea if because Ezlo is a craftsman, so maybe he did make hats, and maybe he just before the Picori people descended from the sky, perhaps they just dropped hats down and people started wearing them. And maybe eventually the Hyrulean people started getting sick of waiting for hats to fall from the sky, and they started to make their own. So maybe, just maybe, it was originally the Picori who actually had the idea of hats. But I know Skyward Sword was early on the timeline and there were hats in that game. So I don't know how I feel about that theory, but I want to mention it. Yasitaru says, in regards to the hat, did it grant wishes? I thought it was just a powerful sword of some magic. Therefore, a wizard, or in this case, a wizard's apprentice, needs to be able to use it. And Captain Trina shuts down Yoshitaro with a simple, it grants the wishes of the wearer. Hyrule Historia, page 81. So there you go. Doesn't matter if you are powerful, unpowerful. Ezlo thought of it all, and he made this wonderful hat that grants wishes. So good for him. Slowpoke the gamer comes and says, in regards to Ezlo being a sage, I think sage is more comparable to elder inside the case of Ezlo. He's not a sage in the sense of the 7 sages. He's just a wise elder for the Minish village. And so that's a fair point. Perhaps he's not a sage as in a magical being, more of just a dude chilling around. But I'm gonna go back to that in just a few moments. Captain Trina says Ezlo had some sort of definite job though, since Vaati was his apprentice. So what Captain Trina is saying here is that while he may have just been just a general craftsman and a sage, he did something concrete, and because he had to have some sort of skill. Like Vaati didn't go up and say, "Hey, can you teach me to be everything?" He had to go up to him and say, Mr. Ezlo, I am Vaati, and I would like you to teach me how to make hats. I would like you to teach me how to make light force. I would like you to teach me how to create magic. I would like you to help me create kinstones, maybe? That was the word we didn't hear much today. I didn't think I saw it once in the chat, but I have a theory that perhaps Ezlo was a craftsman of kinstones. Kinstones are very important to the Minish people, and perhaps they started creating them, and just like hats inside Slowpoke as a gamer theory, perhaps the Hyrulean people started creating kinstones as well. That's my theory. We didn't really hear much of the word kinstone at all inside the chat, and I'm very, very shocked about that, because kinstones have magical properties and are small, and it's very, very much something that people would use, and it seems like a very Minish idea, and the Minish love kinstones. They have them themselves, so I think it has to be the kinstones, personally, that Ezlo was a craftsman of. But that's my theory, and I hope you like it. I've been working on it all show and just kind of holding back. I didn't want to scream kinstones in the chat and make you all go crazy. I wanted to see if any of you would think of it, but unfortunately you didn't, which is disappointing to me. Anyways, Crazy Red Bar goes, maybe he was a leader for his people, but was in contact with the Triforce and the Goddess just like the other sages in past games. Hat making could have just been a relaxing hobby. So he's saying to Slowpoke as a gamer theory of him just being an old guy, saying no, he was in fact talking to the gods and to the Triforce. Talking to the Triforce? You can't do that though. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, huh? I'll talk about that later. Anyway, So that's Crazy Red Bard's theory. I'm not gonna go into it. Captain Trina says, since the Triforce isn't referenced at all in this game, I think whatever power Ezlo and or the hat has comes from the Light Force. And it goes on to say, a tiny Picori descended from the sky, bringing a golden light and a sword. And Blarg expands on that. Says the story says one Picori came down, bringing a golden light and a sword. Perhaps that one Picori was Ezlo. And Yoshitaro agrees. Who is to say that it was not Ezlo? And the Bomb Diggity also agrees and says, could Ezlo be the creator of the Picori blade? And so all of these things lumped together to one general idea, one general idea that perhaps it was Ezlo, this esteemed sage of the Minish people. He was the one chosen to bring gifts of Light Force and Blade to the people on the ground. And perhaps he also brought with him kinstones and hats. Perhaps he did. That's just the theory that I'm taking from all of you guys. I'm trying to wrap it all together. And maybe it was Ezlo. Ezlo comes to the ground. He brings power. He brings hats. He brings blades. He brings kinstones. All these things he had a hand in maybe creating. Perhaps he helped create the Picori blade. I saw a few theories about that. I saw theories that he was a creator of the Light Force, or maybe he's just the messenger. But he's a sage, and so maybe he was the one. Why he's called a sage is because he went to the people of the earth. He was the one to take the plunge and talk to them and see if this is something that they should get in on. The rest of the Picori people say, hey, do you mind if I bring my entire people down here? Sure. This seems like a pretty good idea overall. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. I hope you guys enjoyed those theories that I helped us formulate. I kind of had to pal on with some of your guys' ideas to make it all come full circle. But I think we have a pretty good, solid theory here that we worked out together. But now, guys, I have something very interesting for you. I'm going to play one song. Just enjoy the song. It's going to be fun. But after that, we're going to play a special game tonight here on Hyrule Academy. I hope you guys... we're ready for a test. Pop quiz, guys. Didn't expect that here in the classroom. I bet you didn't. But it is going to be a wonderful medley of Zelda songs, and I want to see who in the chat can shout it out first. So make sure you go to radiohyrule.com/chatroom and shout out whenever you hear a song that you know, because this medley is going to contain a good, I think, 12 different Zelda songs. So be ready to go, guys. Chat is very upset about a pop quiz. Uh-oh. The test day finally arrives. Yes, I hope you guys are very excited for this. Anyways, keep it locked to Radio Hyrule and come back next week. Remember, 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Every single week we do this. We talk about Zelda lore and fan theories and listen to some music, chiptunes, remixes, and all things like that. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll be back in just a few. Hey guys, welcome back to Hyrule Academy right here on Radio Hyrule. I hope you are all having an absolutely wonderful evening, because that was some awesome music we just heard, and we had our very first ever Radio Hyrule Academy quiz. We had a music quiz, and it was absolutely fantastic, and I do have the winners to announce. But first, let's cover the music we heard in general. First up, we heard the staff credits orchestration. That is from the Minish Cap, and that's by RexFire91. I thought it was a good thing to end with a nice reorchestration of the staff credits to kind of wrap up our discussion on the Minish Cap for this evening, and Ezlo. Ezlo's cool. He's pretty nice. And after that, we heard the Zelda Rock medley, and that was by Lazy NS. So if you really liked that remix, go in and check him out. I'm probably going to check him out after the show, see if he has any other music that might be interesting to me, because I found it to be quite a great cover, personally. Now, who got the points? All right, so Great Gaming Guru, I know you're out there. You got a point. Congratulations. Crazy Red Bard, you got a point too. Gold Phoenix, I'm guessing is how you want it to be pronounced. You got 2 points. You should be proud of yourself. And Captain Trina, you also got two points. And so well done to you. But we have a tie for first place, guys. And that was a Yoshitaru and Blarg, who both tied with 3 points for getting the song first. So well done to all of you guys. Thank you guys very much for getting that. Yes, and the point is for the first person to correctly name a song. I didn't declare that. Sorry. That is Gold Phoenix. Wonderful. I got that right. I feel like I'm a good person today. I feel like I got this. I feel like I'm a part of the community that we have formed together. I feel like we've formed a bond today over Ezlo. I hope he's okay with that. Anyways, so what did we talk about today? We talked about Ezlo, the crazy Minish guy, and perhaps, my friends, perhaps he made more than just hats. That's what we learned today. Perhaps he made some kinstones, perhaps he worked on blades, perhaps he even made the Light Force. There's nothing concrete inside the canon that we can confirm or deconfirm, and it's probably not going to be ever confirmed because this was a game by Capcom. It wasn't directly developed by Eiji Aonuma's team over at Nintendo, so we're probably not going to see much more about the Minish Cap or the Minish people, and that's a shame because it was a really great game. I know my friend Silver, it's his favorite Zelda game. Is it his favorite Zelda game? I know he plays a lot. That's all I know. He's the best Minish Cap player you might ever see. Or casual player, I guess. There's still speedrunners who probably do it better than him, but Silver's pretty cool. And also, perhaps, friends, this Ezlo guy, perhaps he was a wise sage. And he was perhaps the first Picori to descend on the earth, as mentioned inside the backstory to the Minish Cap. The first Minish or Picori, whatever. They're interchangeable. I'm being asked inside the chat, will that quiz count towards your final grade? There is no final grades here because we do this show every week on Radio Hyrule, so there's no need to worry, guys. And now I have some big announcements, guys. I have some big, huge announcements for you. I want you guys to get hyped because I'm here to announce, formally, for the first time, I believe, on the actual station, formally is said twice. It's a bit redundant. But being redundant is not only redundant, it's fun. Anyways, Radio Hyrule is proud to announce their 6th anniversary extravaganza, which will be happening this June 22nd. There's going to be music, of course. It's a radio station. What do you expect? There's going to be guest stars. I don't want to announce the guest stars because I don't know if I can. But there's going to be some guests, and they're cool people. I have the documents, so I know there's hype there, so you should be hyped about that. There's going to be wonderful discussions about all sorts of things, Zelda, non-Zelda, and beyond. And it's going to be great. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time, and there's going to be prizes for you guys to win, like CDs, actual physical ocarinas, posters, t-shirts, and perhaps more. And that is going to be happening on June 22nd. It's going to be an all-day event. We're going to have a lot of fun here on the station, so I hope you all come out for that. I personally will be involved. I believe I'll be hosting an hour event, but I can't talk about what it is yet because it's not quite ready to be revealed. I believe our good friend and site overlords will be coming soon to give us some exact details on the website, and so get hype for that. So keep the hype up for the Radio Hyrule 6th anniversary extravaganza. I know I've been listening to Radio Hyrule for a long time. I remember when it was World Zelda Music Radio, but now it's Radio Hyrule, so that's a much better name. Anyway, so I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Anyways, I wanted to thank you all for listening in today, and tune in next week, Friday, 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We're gonna keep the hype up because we're gonna be talking about the essence of the Triforce, specifically from A Link to the Past. Not talking about the Triforce overall. We kind of did that in our first episode a little bit. We'll be talking about the essence of the Triforce from the very end of A Link to the Past. And you can bet everything that next week's music, you guys don't even know. Some of my favorite Zelda songs are all about the essence of the Triforce. So, get excited. Get very excited for that. I'm gonna bring the music in full force. You guys hold on to your hats. It's gonna be exciting. And if you want to support Radio Hyrule as we enter our 6th year anniversary, so would that be the 7th year of existing? I don't know. But if you want to support Radio Hyrule, go to radiohyrule.com/donate. And for a little bit of money, you can, of course, give some love and support to the channel and to the station. And we can work on buying better equipment. We can work on getting new shows and even more new and crazy things that are in the pipeline. We can make them a reality. So get excited for that. And if you want to, email me at mc@supermcgamer.com if you have any requests for music or if you have requests for topics for a future week. I will keep them all inside a nice folder called Cool People until it is time. Anyways, thank you all for your inputs this week. I hope you've had a wonderful time. I hope you've all learned something about hats today. Everybody's very excited about hats. So, yeah, thanks for coming out, okay, guys. I'm going to let you leave you off with one song here called Small Boss, Big Beats by DJ The S. And so I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for tuning on in, and keep it locked to Radio Hyrule.